Hello and welcome once again to Your Health Talk Show. It's so good to have you join us here today. And as you can see here, today I have actually a special guest. Her name is Karen. Karibu sana, Karen.
Thank you, Trisha.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
She has been a very big fan of Your Health Kenya talk show. So we decided to just bring her along to get to share with us the topic that we are going to discuss today. And the topic for today is what to store in your fridge and what not to store in your fridge. Karen, I don't know whether, you're growing up, whether you're taught to know what are you supposed to put in the fridge and what are you not supposed to store in your fridge.
I've had some challenges I've learned on the go when I'd store something in the fridge and then I realized so this went bad. It's, for instance, something like I had a problem with avocado.
Yeah.
I'm here to learn more and see what I'll implement now when I go back home. What am I going to put in the fridge and what I want to put in the fridge.
That's right. And to be honest, I think apart from school, outside school, I personally didn't know, what am I supposed to store in the fridge and what am I not supposed to store in the fridge. But actually, interestingly enough, the specific foods that we're supposed to store in the fridge, ideally just to make it stay longer. But then there are foods that if you put in the fridge, you end up losing the quality of the food, sometimes even the texture, or sometimes even the nutrients in the food. So today, we take you through a journey of knowing what to fridge and what not to fridge. So, Karen, where do you want us to start?
Let's see, what do I like? I think we should start with avocado.
Okay, so we'll start with the fruits here. So we have a stack of fruits. And I know a lot of times, when it comes to your fruits, when you go grocery shopping, you just come and everything that you bought from the market, all of it goes to the fridge. Let me tell you, interestingly enough, especially the bachelors. Yeah.
You just put everything in the fridge.
And fridge, like bread, salt, like literally everything that you buy, you get to, they end up stacking it in the fridge. But actually, when it comes to your fruits, the idea is if your plan is to quickly eat your fruits, maybe within a week or so, you don't really actually need to put it in the fridge. But then if you're probably planning, if you're not a big eater, maybe eating one fruit a day, then you can stack things like your citrus fruits. You can stack them in the fridge. And we did actually a video where we taught you how to arrange your foods and fruits and vegetables in the fridge. So you can watch the link of that video in terms of just knowing where to stack your fruits. So when it comes to your citrus fruits, things like apples, you can stack them in the fridge if you're going to take a bit longer to eat them. But then if you're going to eat them ideally in a week's time, then you can just store them somewhere outside your fridge, somewhere cool and dry. And then you asked about the avocado.
Yes.
So avocado is actually one of those fruits. For it to actually ripen up, you have to leave it outside your fridge. I know people who put it, wrap it in a paper bag and put it somewhere dry and somewhere dark. I personally do that to ensure that my avocados ripen quite fast. But then once your avocados are ripe, you can either leave them at the countertop on a basket, or you can have the option of actually storing your avocado in the fridge once the avocado is ripe. So avocado is one of those fruits that you can stack in the fridge once it's ripe, just to enable it to stay maybe a week longer. But ideally, when it comes to your fruits, you want to ensure that you eat them as quickly as possible. So buy them when they're fresh and, just ensure that you eat them in order to maintain their quality and texture and even the taste and the nutrients. So so for your avocado, make sure that you stack it in the fridge once it's ripe and eat it, between 1 week. Otherwise, after that, your avocado will probably start going bad.
And just a question for the avocado, what happens after you probably you had a slice and you want to leave another slice in the fridge? And does it go bad when you put it in the fridge? How do you store it?
Yeah, well, when it comes to, when you've cut your avocado, when it comes to storing it in your fridge, you actually want to either wrap it with a polythene bag or in a container to maintain the moisture. But then you also want to eat it within a day. So you don't want to stack your cut avocado for longer than a day. Otherwise, oxidation takes place, and that's why you'll find that the avocado begins to blacken. So you want to make sure that if you're going to cut your avocado, just keep it for maybe maximum a day. But then if you're to still ensure that it's fresh, make sure that you eat it after that one day. All right, so that is it for your fruits, and now you know whether to stack them on the countertop or whether to put them in the fridge if you want them to stay maybe a week longer or so. Or sometimes if you want like a fruit that is cold, you can probably store it for a couple of hours before eating it. Or you can have that option of storing it for a day or two to ensure that it's cold. Yes, and then we come to our tomatoes. Is it tomatoes? Is it tomatoes? Is it tomato? Tomato, but yeah, it depends on where you went to school. But when it comes to our tomatoes, ideally tomatoes are also not to be kept in the fridge, and the reason for that is if you want to ensure that your tomatoes are firm so that they ideally don't lose their texture, you want to get them outside the fridge. But then if you're the type that doesn't care about texture, if you want it moist, because that's what happens when you keep your tomatoes in the fridge, they end up losing the texture. So if you want your tomatoes to remain firm, then it's best to store them outside your fridge. So this is one of those that you make the choice on whether to store them outside the fridge if you want them firm and tender. And also when you're buying your tomatoes, ideally for them to ripen, you want to store them outside your fridge. So I know for me, when I go to buy my tomatoes, I try to buy the ones that are not too red, so that when I put them outside the countertop, they can take time to ripen. And the other idea is make sure that you buy your tomatoes and don't keep them for long, otherwise they easily go bad.
So when you're doing that, you buy tomatoes that last you for how long?
Well, I think it depends with your household, how many you are in your family. But then for one person, for me, I try, if I'm going to buy a whole stock of tomatoes, I make sure that 3/4 of it is ideally green, half green, half red, so that if it's going to last like a whole month, I give it time for it to ripen. But then if you buy the tomatoes that are already red, you want to make sure that the red tomatoes are eaten within a week or two, otherwise they'll begin to go bad. So the trick is, if you want them to stay longer, try and buy them when they're green. If you want them just ready-made, if you're buying the red ones, make sure you eat them within a week or two so that it doesn't go bad. So that's it for the tomatoes. So these ones not to fridge because they will lose ideally the texture.